Hey there, it's Rick Khan, and in this video I'm going to reveal how to target interests on Facebook ads in 2022 since there have been so many big changes. Because how I targeted my interests in pre-iOS is now very different to how it is right now. And the truth is, Facebook advertising isn't the same as it used to be, and it's going to continue to change as they get even better with their machine learning. And for a lot of advertisers that have noticed so many interests have disappeared, it seems as though you should focus more now on lookalikes. Well, this isn't fully the case, because I'm not saying that interests are not good, because what's still good about interests is that they are scalable for cold audiences. And if you don't have any data or don't have any lookalike audiences, interest is where you want to begin, as it will still work as long as you target them in the right way. Now, I do have more about leveraging machine learning with using broad targeting, where I'll link the video below. But before we get into targeting your interest, know that the old days of selecting an individual interest and then separating them all out into ad sets have changed, which I'll go through more when we select the interest. And one important thing to note is that you don't want to put too much focus into finding the perfect interest. With the way machine learning works today, it's more about focusing on your creative, your ad copy, and your landing page. These are the true elements that get success with Facebook advertising. But with that said, before you can choose an interest to target, the most important thing you can do is to know and understand your customer avatar, because the machine learning works with your copy. This is probably the most important thing you can do in advertising and even writing a single word of your copy. Because if you don't know who your customer is, how do you know what message to put in front of them? Because ultimately, you can build an incredible campaign with an incredible product, but if that doesn't match the interest audience, or any audience for that matter, you're going to waste a lot of time and money. Especially when you select your interest to target, you want to make sure that your copy will match your avatar's wants and needs to the machine learning, so that can work more effectively. So when you focus on creating an avatar, you want to go beyond just the demographics such as their age, location, and so on, and focus on a deeper level of who is the person that will physically put in their credit card details to buy what you have. So before we start selecting interests and targeting them, I'm going to briefly go through creating your avatar. And if you want a full version about this, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a full video on creating your avatar. But if you want to download the customer cheat sheets, I'll leave a link below. You can get this for free. But what you want to do is go through and fill in each area and delve into the specific pain points and desires in the free cheat sheets below. Now in the sheets, there are the demographics to fill out and also an empathy map where you'll begin to get into your avatar's model of the world. So that way you can begin to know where they're at with their problems. Because what you want to do, you want to make sure you meet them at the conversation that's in their minds when you write your ads. But with that said, a very common question with interest-based targeting is that, is it cheaper to use interest or lookalikes? And the truth is, to be honest, the price can fluctuate regardless if you use lookalikes or interest. And really, it all depends on who's bidding against you. The key behind the cost effectiveness is to advertise your interest in a blue ocean and with ad angles that are different than your competitors, so you don't directly compete against them in the bidding auction. Now, I do have a full video explaining how you can do all of this below, but on average, it's been a split in price. And it's not something that should be a primary focus here, as you always just want to keep in mind that your end goal and what you want to achieve. So if interests are getting expensive, just stop doing them and change your interests until you start acquiring your leads and customers at your break-even spend, where I'll link that in the description more about that. So with that said, let's just start building your campaign for interest targeting, where with each campaign objective, it doesn't matter which you select here, because you can target the same interests on any of these objectives. What's key is to know which objective is right for you and your goals, where I'm not going to go straight into all that. I have many other videos where you can learn more on this. But for this example, let's say I'm going to go for a lead. And when you select lead, you want to go into the ad set and then scroll down until you reach audience. The custom audience is where you use it for things such as retargeting or lookalikes. You want to ignore this for interest and just fill in the relevant information, such as your targeting, countries, age range, and gender. What I want you to focus on is the detailed targeting. And if you have detailed targeting expansion, I'd say take it off, because Facebook can just end up spending money when it's not needed. So let's say you have an audience selling a yoga course. Now you can either use two types of interest, which is the broad terms where you would enter yoga, yoga mats, and so on, where I have a full video teaching you on the broad interest, and also I explain why I think it's good to use and leverage the Facebook machine learning below. But what you want to do is type from your customer avatar the different interests, the gurus or celebrities, or even magazines and clothing brands. You don't need a massive amount of knowledge on this. I just usually pick them from the top of my head, as long as you know the broader spectrum of the industry. So let's carry on for the example. So let's say we type in yoga, then yoga mats, then yoga clothing, because they're all associated together to the core of the people who love yoga. Then you just need to click suggestions, and then a full list will appear that you can choose to use to target the different interests. And another thing, I don't use outside tools as much neither, or search interest too much outside of Facebook, because let's face it, most of these interests just won't show up in the detailed targeting. And to be fair, this is the quickest path and its most effective way. But saying that, let's just pick another niche, such as the self-help niche. You'll start with, let's say, meditation and Oprah Winfrey. Then click suggestions, and it'll start suggesting everything back to the core of what you're trying to add to your targeting. Now, once you take as many interests, this is where now I'm going to stack them, because I don't like to separate my interests like before, because of how Facebook machine learning works, where I have a full video going through stacking your audience below. But in the old days, I would have took each interest and separated them to find the winning interest and then turn the rest off, because then you could determine which interest was getting the best ROI in an individual setting. But the truth is, it's probably best to target your interests as stacked, because Facebook machine learning works more efficient the more room you give its AI, and targeting single interests with 50,000, 500,000 or even a couple of million just won't cut it as it used to. And in order to get Facebook the most productive is to unrestrict it. And that's why stacking these interests will help a lot. So the best thing is you're opening your ads targeting for more scale, because you're increasing the amount of people for Facebook to work with your ad, which will also have less fatigue and less amount of times to keep changing your creative. Now, there are more strategies for targeting audiences, where I'll show you how to put your ads directly in front of your competitor audience by finding those interests with this video right here. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to consider to subscribe below, and until then, I'll see you in the next video.